My name is Nina. I'm 22, a stay-at-home mom, and a month ago, I married my best friend. At least, that's what I thought. Drew was the quiet, charming boy next door who painted our nursery without being asked and made me grilled cheese at 2 a.m. when pregnancy nausea hit. We had a small, sweet wedding. Our 2-year-old, Leo, was the ring bearer. I was 5 months pregnant with our daughter, glowing with what I mistook for security. The shift was subtle. Drew grew distant, his phone a shield tilted away from me. The nightly cuddles stopped. His kisses became brief, functional things. I blamed his early shifts, the stress of a new baby coming. But a mother's intuition is a primal thing, a cold whisper in the gut that speaks louder than excuses. One night, after putting Leo to bed, I asked to see his phone. He handed it over too easily. I found 2 Facebook apps. He'd claimed one was hacked. Both seemed clean. Then I opened Chrome. There, logged in, was a Facebook account. The name, Big Johnson. Birthday, April 20th, 1969. Gender, whole pole. I held the screen out to him. "What is this?" He burst out laughing, a loud, forced sound. "That's hilarious! Must be hackers." Hackers who used your phone number and your password? My voice was eerily calm. He swore on everything sacred, his mother, his late sister, our son, our unborn child, that it wasn't him. His eyes even welled up with convincing tears. A part of me, the part that remembered our vows, wanted to believe. The other part, the mother in me, knew a predator's lie when she heard one. I told him to go to bed. He kissed my cheek and fell asleep instantly. I stayed up, my hands trembling, as I used his password on my own phone. Big Johnson logged in without a hitch. The gaslighting began the next morning. I was crazy. I must have made the account to frame him. He looked at me with such convincing pity, I almost doubted the evidence in my own hands. Desperate, I posted in an online forum. A kind stranger told me to check the Facebook activity log. The account was created March 20th, 2022. Drew had asked me to be his girlfriend March 21st, 2022. He'd had this vile, secret alter ego the day before we officially began. Every login, every visit over 2 years traced back to our home IP address. The hacker was the man sleeping next to me. I didn't sleep. I lay beside him listening to his peaceful snore, every shared memory now rotting from the inside out. Who was this man? The next day, I became a detective. I printed everything, screenshots of the account details, login histories, IP data. I laid the damning paper trail across our kitchen table like a prosecutor's exhibit. When he came home, I didn't let him take off his boots. "We need to talk." He saw the papers and sighed, the picture of exasperated innocence. "You're still on this?" "The account was created the day before you asked me out. You've logged in from this house for 2 years. Explain." He flipped through the pages, his act crumbling. "Okay, fine. I made it. It was a stupid joke with a buddy. I never messaged anyone. You saw. No messages." His tone wasn't remorseful. It was annoyed. Annoyed he'd been caught. "Then why swear on your sister's grave? Why lie? Why gaslight me and call me crazy?" He looked at me, and for the first time, I saw not my husband, but a stranger calculating his losses. "I didn't want to fight," he said simply. That was it. His entire justification. Not an apology, not an acknowledgement of my pain, just an admission that his comfort was more important than my truth. Something inside me crystallized. I had 2 children to protect, one in my arms, one in my womb. This man was a threat to our peace. I stood and walked to the bedroom. He followed. "You're leaving?" "I'm choosing my children," I said, pulling a suitcase from the closet, "and I'm choosing myself." He cycled through the liar script, promises to change, to get therapy, declarations of love. The words were empty noises. I'd seen the man behind the curtain, pathetic, deceitful, and utterly unrepentant. I took Leo and went to my sister's. That night, in her tiny guest room, I called a lawyer. Leaving was an earthquake. I had no income, no apartment in my name. My world was diapers and doubt. But staying was a slow death. Drew's texts oscillated between rage and manipulation. "You're overreacting. You're tearing our family apart. If you don't come back, I'll go for full custody." The custody threat was the final confirmation. This wasn't about love, it was about control. I documented everything. My attorney filed for an emergency protective order and temporary custody. At the hearing, Drew arrived in a suit, a picture of wounded dignity. He performed for the judge, painting me as unstable, suffering from postpartum rage, fabricating evidence because he didn't give me enough attention. His mother, who'd always silently despised me, testified to his character. I remained silent, letting my attorney speak. She presented the forensic evidence, the digital paper trail that proved systematic deception, not a stupid joke. The judge's demeanor shifted from neutral to stern. I was granted primary custody and child support. Drew was ordered to undergo a psychological evaluation before any unsupervised visitation. As we left, he stared at me with pure, unvarnished hatred. The mask was gone. I felt no fear, only a profound, clean relief. The following months were a blur of survival and slow rebuilding. WIC, a small online craft shop, therapy, online classes. I was determined to finish the degree I'd abandoned. The day I gave birth to my daughter, Ella, was peaceful. My sister was my rock. Drew wasn't notified. He didn't deserve to be there. The divorce finalized without fanfare. Signing the papers, I felt not grief, but the weight of a lie finally lifted. One evening, a year later, I was bouncing Ella on my hip while Leo played at my feet. I opened the old evidence folder on my phone. I scrolled to the screenshot of Big Johnson, and I laughed. A real, free laugh, not because it was funny, but because it was so absurdly, pathetically small. That's what shattered my world, a cartoonish secret held by a man too cowardly to be honest. My revenge wasn't dramatic, it was quiet. It was the life I built without him. It was watching my children thrive in a home where honesty was the foundation. It was the degree I earned, the business I grew, the peace I cultivated. He tried to reach out once, with a teddy bear and fake tears, begging for another chance. I didn't open the door. I called the police to report the violation of the no-contact order. He never came back. They say betrayal is a tragedy. Sometimes it's a gift. It was the brutal, necessary surgery that cut the tumor out of my life. The man who hid behind Big Johnson did me a favor. He showed me exactly who he was before I wasted another decade believing in who he pretended to be. And I am no longer Nina, the naive wife. I am Nina, the mother, the survivor, the architect of my own honest, beautiful, and free life.